All right, so the Divi contact form is what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. I'm going to show you how to set it up and also go through and show you some advanced setups. All right, so before we get started, I'd like to remind you that if you buy Divi using my affiliate link, you get a free course that costs $497. It's the Web Design Formula, a course that teaches you how to design professional looking websites with Divi. And also you get a discount. All to that, links in the video description below. Let's get started and let me show you how to create a Divi contact form. All right, so over here I'm on my website. All I have to do is to create a brand new page. So I'm going to come over here, click on add new. So let's give this page a name. Click on use Divi builder. And for this example, we're going to build everything from scratch. However, you can use the contact form pretty much on any page or even on a blog post, or even if you decide to use it on your template. So this is just a quick example of how you can use it. So whatever you're going to use here, you can apply it pretty much anywhere. All right, so I'm going to start here with 2 columns. So now let's search for our contact module. So here it is. I'm going to select it. So out of the box, it looks pretty basic. So let me just show you other things that we can do here. So we can add new fields. So let's say you want to collect more information. I can just click here on add new field. So here we have the field ID. So you can decide here what you want to add. So let's say I want to add a phone number. So I can just say phone. And then here on the new field, in fact, I may just name this phone as well. Right. So on the field options, this is where you can decide what type of field type it is. So on the drop down here, you can see we have email field, text area, check boxes, radio boxes, and select drop down. So since this is a phone, so this is going to be an input field. I can also specify the minimum length and maximum length. So which is also very good. So if it's a phone number, if it has 10 digits, you can specify here. And also if you want to allow some symbols, so for this case, this is going to be only numbers. So it's going to be 0 to 9. So I'm going to add that there. And I can also make this a required field. So this is, let's say, if you want to make this field mandatory and you want people to enter the email address, that phone number or whatever field it is, they won't move to the next step until that is filled in. So that is what this is for. So if you want it required, you can just set it to that. And then I'm just going to hit save. Okay, so now when we take a look at this form, we see that a phone here has been added and I can drag this. So let's say I drag it up here. And let's say we decide we don't even need to have this message part. I don't know why not, but it makes sense that it's there. But if you want to delete it, you can just click here on this trash icon and it's gone. All right, so when I save now, and let's publish this. So I want to exit the Visual Builder here. So what we're going to do here is to test and see if this field that we've just created is going to take our numbers. So as you can see, when I just hover over here, it already says only numbers allowed, minimum 10 characters. Okay, so let's say I start entering letters. Okay, I'm just going to enter some random letters here and I'm just going to pretend to submit. Now notice what happens. We get this message here saying, please match the format requested. And that is to only add in numbers because this is what is only allowed. So as you can see, this works, and also it's great because it gives feedback to your user to let them know what they're doing wrong. Now let's go in and customize this and also talk about conditional logic. All right, so if you wanted to customize this, all you have to do is to go back into our Visual Builder here and add some colors and some styles. All right, so let's go in and let's do that. So I'm going to come over here to my settings. So what I would like to do here is to give this a background. So let's go ahead and do that. So there we go. I've just added my background in there. I am now going to go into design, spacing. So we want to make sure there is enough breathing space around our form. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just adding 20 pixels here. So depending on what you're designing, you may want to increase it. So if you want to increase it, you can just use this dial here. So let's try 28. In fact, I think 28 is better. Okay, so now that we have this, pretty much we have freedom now to go in and customize this the way we want. Now, let me show you how. So first of all, the quickest way I discovered is to just click on this paintbrush icons. Okay, so I'm gonna click that, and now I can decide, okay, field background color. What color do you want to add in there? So you can start with the dark color, and right away you can see here that that has dramatically changed how things look on our form. So let's say our fields text color needs to be changed. We can go ahead and do that, and or we can just go with this color here if you don't want it to be too bright, but you know what, let's just keep it like that. Now we can also move on to our focus color, so we can add a focus color here if we need to, but usually when I design this I don't really add a focus color. Now let's move on here. Fields padding, we can also increase the padding here. So again, I'm going to activate my chain here so I can apply my padding both to the top and the bottom. So you can see here I'm making my fields bigger. So let's go with 18. Now let's move on, and let's say you want to change the fonts of our form here. We can just click on this drop down and choose our font. Now you guys know I love using pop-ins. I'm going to go ahead and select pop-ins. Now we can also make it all caps if we need to. We can increase the size, but I would highly recommend you don't increase the size too much. This works pretty okay. And moving on, let's see what else we can do here. We also have letter spacing and line height. I don't usually mess around with that. Now I can see here that we have some content which is quite difficult to see here. So I'm going to go ahead and address that. So I'm going to click on this paintbrush icon here and change my color. Now we can see that 14+7 on the capture is now working. I also need to change my font here on the capture. So let's match this with the font we've already used, which is Poppins. And I'm also going to increase the size here to about 16. Okay. Now, moving on, we also have the button here that we can go in and change. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to click here on this paintbrush icon, activate use custom styles for button. And now that I've selected that, I can now go in and change pretty much anything that I need to change. So let's start here with the background. Next, I'm going to add my background color, and I'm also going to change my border here. Now I can see that my font doesn't match everything else that we have. Let's address that by coming over here like that. Great. So now everything is matching. I can now save, and look at that. We have gone in and customized our form, and this is how you really want to use Divi. Don't use the stock layout or the stock design that really comes with Divi. There's loads of ways you can go in and customize this and make it look pretty different from what you get from the default. Okay. All right, so we are going to continue now, and I'll show you how to add more advanced features. So let's add a brand new field. So I'm going to click here on this plus button. So the fields we're going to add are slightly different here. So I'm going to say I like, and that's the field I like. You can see on the bottom here, it's showing. Okay, so my field options now are going to be slightly different. So instead of having just my normal fields where I just enter information, I'm going to now use some checkboxes. So I'm going to say I like, and then I'm going to say option 1. So I can keep adding more of these. I'm going to add another one here, add another one. Now this one here can be option 3. Excellent. So we also notice that we have these little icons here. So this one here, we can move things around like that. We can also duplicate and delete. And this one here also has an option to add a link URL. So this can be useful, let's say, in situations where you have the option, but you want people to find more information about that particular option before they choose it, so they can go and access that URL by just clicking on that option. So that is one way we could use this option right here, which is fantastic. All right, so now that I have all my information here, you can see it clearly says option 1, 2, and 3. I can now go in here and make further customizations to this. So I'm going to click on this paintbrush icon. And first off, I can change my field's background color here if I need to. So you can see there, I can just change them like that, or even have them like that. So I pretty much prefer this color, to be honest. Right, let's move on now, and let's take a look at our fields colors. So here you can see my color here does not look great. So I am going to change that. Now, if you wanted this to really stand out as well, you can also go and add a background. So you can see here, I've just added a background there. So let's add some transparency to it so that it's not really bad. So there we go. I've just added some transparency there. Now, what I can also do is to go into the spacing and just give this some breathing space. So let's add 20 around it. And I'm going to add this both to the top and the bottom like that. And you can see now this looks much better. Okay, so let's save that. Now, what I could also do here is I could duplicate this and also change the contents here. So instead of having check boxes, I can have radio buttons. So I'm going to say my main focus is, so I'm going to come over here, change that. So my field options here, instead of having check boxes, I'm going to change this to radio buttons. Okay, so there's my options. So I can say option 1. To save me time, I'm going to duplicate this, and this time I'm going to say option 2, duplicate that, and then say option 3. Excellent. So now that I have all my fields here, why don't we try and play around with our conditional logic and see how fun this is going to be. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to now rearrange a few things here. So I'm going to bring the age all the way down here to the bottom. So you can see how easy this is to use as well. So let's bring our phone number as well all the way to the bottom here. Excellent. So now I am going to now use the conditional engine. So you can decide what you need to choose here. So I'm going to go here with my main focus is. So conditional logic, enable. So now, so I'm going to say I like is equal to, say, option 1. Okay, so this is I like. So if it's equal to option 1, then it's going to show. And also, if I can add even more options here. But for that, I'm just going to add one conditional logic to that. So let's save this and let us save and exit. Okay. So you can see here that the other box here is not showing. That is because it has conditional logic applied to it. So it's only going to show when I choose option 1. So you can see as soon as I select option 1, it's now showing. And that's because we set this up in the conditions. So as you can see here, we can start showing information based on our conditional logic here, which makes this very, very powerful. So again, if I choose option 1, now I get this here to show on the bottom here, which is fantastic. So even here in the messages, I can also add conditional logic and say if there's a word or maybe a trigger that could show what people like here, this can be also added as a conditional logic. So it's very fun to use, and you can really make dynamic forms which are rich with different types of information here. And this is pretty much how you set this all up. Okay, so now that we've finished designing this, we need to specify where this form is going to go. So let me go ahead and show you where that goes. So I'm going to go back into my form here. So what I'm going to do here is to go to my success message. So here you can also add your success message. So I'm going to say thank you after they fill in the form, and this submit button here, I can change this to whatever I want. So you can see here as I'm typing, I can say send the info. So this is updating right away, which is fantastic. Now over here, I can also add my email address. Okay. I can also add a redirect here. So after they hit send the info, this could go to a page which I can specify here. And this page could be a thank you page. It could have a video. It could have any other information that you may need here as soon as they send the form. Okay, so now that I've added this, I think I'm ready now to save. We also have our spam protection here. So for this example, we use our basic capture. But if you want to use a service like Google, you can always come over here, choose your account, and this is the reCAPTCHA from Google, and use that as well. All right, so I'm going to save this, and then we are going to test this form. Now I'm going to exit the builder. Okay, so let's fill this in. Let's say I'm just going to call this test message. And I'm going to go with option 1 here. Option 2. Add my phone number. So age. I'm going to add my captcha here. Send the info. And now here we have our message. In fact, I should have gone in and changed this because it's quite difficult to read. But you can see there it says thank you. Now, we could also have this page as a redirect, and that makes it even easier for us to view the information that we need on that page. Okay, so all you have to do now is to check your email and see if that message has come through, and pretty much that's how your contact form works. All right, guys, that's all I have for you in today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell notification. By doing so, you'll be notified when I release new tutorials. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.